first barn. So this is a tithe barn, the 14th century, and it's huge. So this is where they, the farm here would have been quite large, and the tithe would have been a place where other local farm owners and landowners would bring their produce here, and they'd put it here and store it during the winter and everything, and they would pay a percentage of it, 10% roughly, to the church as a tithe for having used this space. Pretty fascinating. The manor and the farm belonged to the abbey until it was dissolved in 1539 during Henry VIII's suppression of the monasteries. The barn later passed through the ownership of several families. By the early 20th century, it was in poor repair and no longer needed for agricultural use. However, the building's historical importance was recognized, and in 1914, Charles E.H. Hobhouse gave the barn to the Wiltshire Archaeological Society. It was wheat, barley, oats, peas, beans, and potatoes. We were in Bradford on Avon overnight, near the tithe barn.
Turns out Bradford on Avon is the nicest place.
Yeah, it's a beautiful little town. Unfortunately, I had to cut my visit a wee bit short and go back to the hospital because of a possible allergic reaction, which turned out to not be an allergic reaction, which just turned out to be me being oversensitive or something.
So Michael didn't get back to the boat till after midnight last night.
Yeah, so we didn't get a heck of a lot of sleep. But this morning we got up, moved up over the Bradford bottom lock, the Bradford lock, and made it about 150 yards and took care of some housekeeping stuff like getting groceries and things. And now we are setting off towards Trowbridge.
I went to get the groceries and Michael was left in charge of making lunch. He spent the whole time gossiping to a CRT volunteer.
Wasn't gossiping, we were having an important political discussion. Anyway, now we're on our way to Trowbridge, where we will stop at the boatyard to fuel up and get our winter fuel order. We just came out of the boatyard in Hilperton.
And yeah, the guy was so helpful.
Yeah, helped me do an air filter replacement right there because our air filter was black.
I should have filmed it. Why didn't I film anything?
Good question. She should have filmed it. Why didn't she film anything? We are heading that way.
As opposed to that way.
As opposed to that direction.
We're going forwards, not backwards.
Yes, Caen Hill is currently undergoing some...
Well, we knew that there had been some issues with one of the pumps, and we knew there might be restrictions, but somebody just posted on Facebook that it shut for 7 days. So we were like considering we're like a day away from Caen Hill, we're like, what?
Well, we're going to spend 7 days sitting out here waiting for it to open again.
But we think they might have just been a bit
misinformed.
Yeah.
Because it sounds like it's actually just
restricted hours, which is fine. And there's nothing on the CRT website about the stoppage, so it's a bit weird. So hopefully we can go up this weekend. And then the guy at the boatyard said that he can do from here to Reading in 4 days at a push, so we're fine.
We're fine. We've only got
25 days?
25 days. So we'll just make it. Skin of our teeth.
So it's 7 a.m. and today is back up Caen Hill day. Yesterday we came down from Semmington to Sells Green and we got the last mooring just at Sells Green. Also yesterday I checked the Kennet and Avon Facebook group and there was a guy on there who was asking if anyone was going up Caen Hill today to buddy up, and he was also moored at Sells Green, so we replied and he popped over last night. So he's a single-hander, so we won't have much help on the flight, well, on the locks before Caen Hill, because obviously there's lock keepers at Caen Hill. It's just nice to have a boat in the lock with you so you don't move around so much, so that's good. And he also thinks he's got some crew turning up at 11, so after 11 there'll be lots of help. So yeah, should be a good day, and hopefully we'll get to Devizes without too much problem. What a beautiful morning on the canal. So we've done some boat shuffling. We're finally off. It's about 8:30. Dan's just pulled away behind me, Michael's in front of me, and we're heading to the first lock.
So yeah, that's the Caen Hill flight there, and gotta say it does look a little daunting, doesn't it? When you're at the there's a lot of locks. There's the George, right in the middle. That's the perfect George shot. Oh, look at that. Look at that dog.
So we're in Devizes. We kind of flew from Bradford on Avon past, we moored in Semmington for the first night and then Sells Green. Didn't really vlog because we vlogged it going the other way.
Yeah.
A few time lapses. And then we got to Sells Green in the evening quite late, got the last mooring, had a woman moor up against us, which was fine because she didn't have anywhere to moor.
Yeah.
And we were like, yeah, you can, but we're leaving at 8, so you'll have to get up early.
Yeah, and we saw Grey Hair again, which was nice.
Yeah. It's quite a nice little community down there.
Yeah, good little group. And then Joe spotted somebody on Facebook who was going to be going up the next day.
Up Caen Hill.
Up Caen Hill, and he was doing it alone. So when we saw that, it was like, oh, well, maybe we should arrange something. You know, we met up that evening and made a plan to leave first thing in the morning.
And then we had about a mile to go to the first lock, and then there were 7 locks.
To Fox Hangers. Fox Hangers. Yeah, we had to get to Fox Hangers past a whole lot of anglers who were already out very early in the morning doing a lot of fishing.
So then there was 7 locks with just the 3 of us, and these 2 had like a lovely time just sitting on the back of the boat, doing a little bit of steering and having a good old gossip while I did all the running around. And because the locks aren't that close together, but you can see one lock from the previous one, so we could look up and see that the next one, the water was high. So before they'd risen up on the first one, I was up to the second one to drop that, to run back, to then they'd have come out and then shut those gates and then run back up to open the water on that one, and then saw the water wasn't down on the next one, so ran up to that one, and I was just backwards and forwards.
Yeah, we did no work. The gates just magically opened themselves before we drove through.
And they were just like,
cha.
So I was exhausted by the end of those, and the guy we were going up with was really sweet. I've got crew coming, I promise. And sure enough, they turned up at 10:30, and they were brilliant, really lovely people.
Yeah,
and,
a whole group of people showed up
and like
in sort of two waves, and all of a sudden we had lots of crew.
We'd barely said hello when the guy was like, right, give me a windlass, and he was like marching on to get the next lock open, so it got much easier. And we did the 16 Caen Hill flights, 16 locks on the Caen Hill flight in 2.5 hours, which going uphill is pretty good going.
Yeah, especially since halfway up we ran into, I think it was 4 locks in a row.
No, there was a gap.
Was there a gap
yeah,
between one of them? So there was all of a sudden there was one boat coming down towards us. Okay, not too complicated.
You can shuffle.
You know, you pull forward, they pull in, we pull forward, no problem. Then we get to the next one, 2 boats. Okay, a little bit more complicated, but we figure it out. Then there was one that was 2 boats that were tied together, so they're basically a wide beam.
You didn't see it, but then the gates opened, and there's this really wide beam just
like a big
there.
hotel boat, and
it was really funny because you and Dan were like, "Oh, how are we going to do this? Maybe if you fall forward and go onto the lock landing, and then I'll do this."
Yeah.
And then the guy said, "No, don't worry.
Don't worry. We'll just move to the side."
So they moved to the side, like obviously done it quite a few times, and these two just got to shoot past. That was actually the easiest one. The hardest.
It was, as we were coming up, and the gate opens. It's like, uh-oh.
Yeah. And then it got to the stage where every time you got through a lock and the gates were opening, you were like, what are we going to face?
What are we facing next?
And the hardest one was actually the 2 boats tied together because, like, they didn't have many crew.
The poor guy who pulled the boat out went over into went over to the landing, but there isn't very much of a landing at all. And his boat, the one that was actually powered, was too long to really fit properly into the landing, and then there was an unpowered boat beside him tied on
that was pulled right forward. So
yeah,
basically as soon as he got onto the lock landing, he blocked you guys from even getting out of the lock.
Yeah. So finally he was able to just drag it back on the rope far enough that Dan, the guy beside us, and his boat were able to slide forward and sort of jockey around him, and then that let me enough room.
And it was a really difficult manoeuvre, to do. I mean, it was a beautiful day. There wasn't too much wind, but it was Sunday, and there was just so many people watching.
Yeah.
And it was a bit naive of us to do it on a Sunday, because on some of the locks, there were so many people standing around, taking pictures that you're like, excuse me, I just need to catch this rope, or shutting the gates wasn't so much a problem because there's not an urgency in that. But if you're in the lock bumping around waiting to throw a rope up and there's all these people standing by the bollards and stuff, it's quite funny.
Yeah, I mean, from my perspective, it was I knew they were up there, but it's basically just looking up at a bunch of curious nostrils. An Australian woman and her friend who sounded maybe British. Anyway, they were very curious, which was great, but they're one of the people in their group kept walking on my rope, so I kept being like, I'm not sure if he's stepping. Okay, pull on it gently. I can't tell if there's a foot over it or not, and I was really worried about just yank, sploosh, whoops.
A bit daunting thinking, oh, we've got 29 locks to do in one day, and but we just had such a good day, because we were with really good people and everyone we met was really good.
Yeah, and the weather was perfect, and everyone was just friendly and joyful.
The challenges we met were we were able to deal with them really good. It was so glad that we met a boat to go with. It's definitely well worth finding out if someone else is going the same way as you when you've got a lot of locks to do or a long way to go.
Oh, and he was great too. We stopped at the
boatyard.
Boatyard in Hilperton. They were great. He helped me out with getting an air filter replaced really quick, give me an oil filter, fuel filters, all the stuff that I'm going to need.
And he had his head down in the engine room, didn't he?
Just looking in for us, and he pulled the air filter out and was like, yeah, that's no good. Your air filter should not be black and dripping oil. Got coal loaded up onto the top of the boat for us, sold me a few extra bits and bobs and all at a really good price. If you keep up a positive attitude and you're just generally kind of friendly with people, this community really helps.
Yeah.
It just jumps to all the time. In fact, we had people who were volunteering to come out and walk up, go up Caen Hill with us. People who've seen the channel and contacted us on Facebook.
And it's a shame because the one day that we chose to do it, they couldn't make it. But if you see us, always say hello, because we like chatting to anyone. So.
Yeah, but say hello and explain why you know who we are, because every once in a while I'm just like, what did I do? When did I do it?
When did I meet you?
Yeah.
Thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching. Next time we're going to cover part of the camera with a ball or a piece of food or something, and then he'll just be like, just look that way.
Yeah. Have you done a poo?
And apparently, one of the owners was the best man at the wedding of Lord Byron, who I didn't know had gotten married, but I knew he spent a great deal of time chasing women.
Update time.
I gotta be able to do the whole Kyoto in the shadow speech from Aloha, though.
Go on.
I swear to God. No, I can't do it. I need to, like, memorize it. You're gonna have another one of those tangent alerts on there, aren't you?
Hello.
Hello. This is Big Head. I am Little Head. Today I'm so tired. Never get shot in the leg with a piece of metal.
Michael has been suffering in okay, so we cannot vlog. It's a really beautiful sunny day and Michael's making us film inside.
She made me film inside. I don't want to film inside.
You don't want to film full stop?
I don't want to film, period.
Turns out Bradford on Avon.
Hello.
Hello.
My name is Jimenez.
So it's Michael.
See,
Okay.
my head is cut off. My chin is cut off. My wife is cut off. And now I feel better. Yeah. Fuck. 39. And minor traffic jam. Good fun. Clematis macropatella. Weathery big kneecap? That doesn't make sense.
George, you need to come right a bit.
It's the wrong spelling of patella,
No,
isn't it? George!
Yeah, what we got?
Yeah, multiple dogs.
Oh, and a big
Oh
one.
my.
Wait a minute.
All right, George, you can play. He was like, I've got crew cut.
Oh, I was waking up.
If he sees a distraction. Hello.
Hello.
But he's still loving life.
Such a good dog. Look at this pooch. He's just anything. He can fly. Nope. Possible food. That guy could be carrying food. It's a pair of binoculars, but it might be chicken.
Yeah, we need to end it.
I think we ended it. Didn't we? I think you ended it. So thanks for watching. And we'll see you again in Oxford.
We're not vlogging till Oxford.
We're just going to move really fast.